Girls, thanks for coming over to see us. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Ashley. I work for Specialist Lines as a client director.
Okay.
I'm Sally. I work for Aviva as a insurance underwriter.
Okay, fantastic. Are you able to tell us a bit more about what the role involves?
Absolutely. So I work for Specialist Lines, who are a construction and engineering loss adjuster. My role involves sort of a little bit of business development, predominantly account management, so looking after our largest clients across end-to-end claims management and just the loss adjusting services as well.
Yeah. So loss adjusting, what is it?
Loss adjusting, starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
So loss adjusters are typically appointed by insurers to go out onto site and investigate the circumstances of a loss. So dependent on the class of business will be sort of the nature of their inquiries will be driven by that. So we do construction and engineering claims that involve plant and machinery. We also do casualty losses, so your slips, trips for EL, PL and product liability, and some falling over the word there, professional indemnity losses as well. So anything that's based on negligent advice, sort of handling that, investigating the circumstances of it, and provide liability recommendations to instructing insurers.
Fantastic. And Sally?
So I look after the Group PA and Travel regional area, developing accounts with brokers, looking to build accounts, looking to write new business, predominantly looking after renewals as well. I cover the north area, so trying to get the engagement with brokers, trying to work with the team and increase our visibility and our product offering, looking after group personal accident business travel in the northwest.
Yeah. So group PA and travel, so like personal accident, you said, is that mainly for businesses?
Absolutely, yeah. So we look at the corporate side of things. So we look at a group of two or more, anybody who is operating in that field, and yeah. Yeah,
fantastic. So underwriting, we've been through loss adjusting. What does underwriting involve?
It's a lot of numbers. It's just numbers. So underwriting can be, it's how it's presented to you, I think. So you can look at the information that you've got. You can look at that on a spreadsheet or a presentation, but the main thing for me is when you speak to a broker and find out what the reason is that they're being presented to you. So the risk comes to you, and you analyse that, and you can look at it and put a number on it. So there's a lot of that number crunching, but really it's about that relationship. It's about finding out the reasons for the presentation being submitted to you and what the client's needs are, and that's really where we get to, and what we try and achieve is sort of, you know, you look at that broad scope of the covers that they offer. Can we offer something more? Is there something different that we can do, and how we can make that relationship work overall?
Fantastic. And if there's anybody watching who doesn't have group personal accident and travel insurance in place already, what would you say to those people as to why they need it, the benefit of that cover?
So it tends to be a cover that is probably further down the list than some of the others, but it can be very emotive, very, very critical to the business. So personal accident on a group basis protects the employees, and that's really where we sit with that. And you know, in terms of you've got your liability covers, but group personal accident's non-fault, so it really does protect those employees. From a business travel point of view, the emotive side is obviously, you know, you've got those people and they are the biggest asset to the company. So medical expenses, your cancellation, your baggage, your money, all those things can be quite personal to the traveller.
Yeah.
When your business is covering you for those trips, then you know that you've got the very best cover that you can get.
Because I know I've spoken to some businesses in the past who will just let employees arrange it on a case-by-case basis themselves.
Yeah.
Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
Definitely not, no. So one number, so one assistance company can deal with all the claims. You can look at that sort of holistically and say, actually, you know, you've got a trend here, and from an underwriting point of view, it definitely is better, but it's also more cost effective as well. But again, the premise and the main point is that it's protecting that employee, and on a group basis, you've got the same level of cover. So if your employee is going out and purchasing individual cover, you've got varying benefit levels, exclusions, whereas if you've got it on an annual basis on a group policy, then you've got level cover.
The certainty of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So in the news, kind of almost constantly, you see travel insurance a lot where there are claims being declined due to kind of pre-existing medical conditions. What would you advise to people be there?
So the corporate business travel policy that Aviva offered doesn't have any pre-existing medical conditions exclusions. The benefits of that is that we don't need to know if you're not travelling against the advice of a medical professional, if you're not travelling to receive treatment, then cover is provided. You've got that certainty and you don't have to refer each and every time.
Right, so it's completely circumvents that issue.
Absolutely, yeah. And you kind of, you retail your day-to-day products that people purchase, that you and I, can go online and purchase. That's very different, and this is sort of the next level cover.
Right. Ashley, we're here today because, of course, BIBA is going on around the corner.
Absolutely,
Can you explain what BIBA is for us?
BIBA is a bit of a buzz in Manchester at the moment. It's a meeting of all insurance professionals across brokers, insurers, sort of service providers like myself in terms of the claims side, all coming together, exhibiting, hosting sort of meetings, and I think there's some learning sessions as well going on. I know some. Yeah, so just a chance to sort of meet the market and catch up with contacts, and obviously establish new relationships as well.
Yeah. Well, you talk about meeting the market and new relationships. Is that the main value from BIBA for you?
I think so. I think we're all sort of on the same page in terms of it's the relationships, like you mentioned before, in terms of that drive business growth and successful partnerships over time. And I think that face-to-face contact is integral to sort of our line of work.
Absolutely.
We've sort of come back from the dreaded C word, COVID, back to face-to-face, and it is about getting time to catch up with people, and it's vital.
Yeah. So it's on for 2 days. What have you got planned?
Well, we're kicking off with this to start off with, starting on a high. I've got some meetings later on with some of our clients, sort of catching up with them whilst they're up in Manchester. They're up from London, and see who else we bump into.
Yeah.
So on this podcast, we've spoken quite a bit in the past about kind of young people and how they can get into insurance. What advice would you give to your younger self?
It's not as boring as people say. It's really not, is it?
I chose insurance, so
really?
Yes.
Did you?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there's so many different avenues. I mean, we were talking about it before in terms of sort of a bit of authenticity being really important, and
Absolutely.
imposter syndrome, and overcoming that. I think ask questions is what you said earlier on. Don't be afraid to go out and find out what different people do, even in your own company, and ask if you can shadow people. Try and get to the events, try and get to BIBA, try and get to the CII lunch and learn sessions. I think are really valuable to understand all different parts of the market. I'm still consistently learning new things that I never knew of, or being asked questions that I thought, I've never even thought about this before. So I would absolutely say, whatever opportunity you get, there's so many different avenues for growth in all different directions.
Yeah.
So
So you would recommend it then?
Definitely.
100%, yeah.
I mean, we spoke before, didn't we, about you mentioned that you chose it. Most of us fell into it. I don't know about you, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely fell into it.
Yeah, I was the same. And so we were talking earlier about how it can be the making of you a little bit, especially when you kind of fall into it as well, in that you can leave university, college or school and not really know what you want to do with life. And it kind of gave us, I think, a bit of a purpose, kind of something to kind of concentrate on. It's given us a career which we wouldn't have had otherwise, I don't think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's so much that you can get from it in terms of, I think the phrase that you coined earlier is people, remind me what you said.
People buy from people.
People buy from people. I want to wedge that one in. And it's very true, and I think that's really where you can shine, and certainly within the career that we've chosen, the people that we meet, we can grow from them, and that certainly goes from all levels, sort of into senior to the younger members. And I think integrating, being back in the office, networking with your peers, it really does bring that together, definitely.
Yeah. So the insurance industry, what do you expect over the next few years? What kind of challenges, what opportunities, what threats? AI?
AI, yeah. Well,
I think everybody, to a degree, I think everybody's waiting for somebody else to make the first move, really. So we get asked quite a lot when we're sort of doing the onboarding process about where we utilize AI. We're not, being a specialist loss adjuster, we're not sort of doing the personal line stuff and your general run-of-the-mill bits and pieces. So it's not something that is so much of a focus for us. I can see where you're looking at sort of your personal lines, I can see that becoming much more prevalent. Over the years, we looked at automation, chatbots, sort of dealing with your day-to-day queries. I think it'll be interesting to see how the claims landscape evolves in order to address that. But I think it will take some time. I think we're all sort of well aware that there is the value in the human input, that computers can't replace people.
I completely agree with that. I think that's a real good point, actually, because I think there's a fear there that, we can get things done quickly with AI, but actually do we do it properly? So I'm sort of, personally speaking, I'm very much sort of fearful of that kind of overtaking, because I think that the people do make the difference, and yes, there are some tasks that can be automated and can be quicker and more efficient for everybody, but it doesn't take away from that, and it's finding that balance.
I think automation is supposed to assist the people in being able to spend their time doing more valuable tasks rather than replacing somebody completely. So as long as we keep that focus and that's what we look at, then we'll be more efficient and happier in our roles rather than not have jobs. So
Yeah.
I think there was a number of years ago with the changes that were happening in America, particularly sort of from the casualty claims front, was the fear that these computers would just read medical reports and decide on the valuation of things, and there'd be no need for anybody. That hasn't translated. Well, from what I'm aware of, that hasn't translated at all. It still is very much skill and again negotiation with people. So. Yeah, we'll wait and see.
Experience, I guess, as well, because, with generative AI, I guess it's learning as it goes as well. So that kind of puts a different spin on things in terms of, that kind of evolution of AI, because it's not just this is how it is and then we go forward. It's actually, it's learning as it goes, but it's working together with that and making sure that the human side is the prevalent.
But the interesting thing with AI, though, is because we're sort of starting to use things like Copilot and ChatGPT, is that essentially in time, obviously it's learning, but it's learning from itself. So later on down the line, are we going to have this situation where the AI has sort of fed back in and taught itself? So how reliable will it be? I don't know. Apparently that's why you should always say please and thank you to ChatGPT.
Really? Oh my. Well, I probably would, to be fair.
I'm very polite to it. Do you mind?
Yeah. Well, there's Skynet in the back of my mind.
Yeah. When it comes up, would you like me to summarise this for you? Yes, please. Thank you. Have a good day.
Well, I think one of the interesting things with it is that it's kind of the sword on the shield. So we talk about kind of fraud prevention, but it can make fraud easier. You see people kind of forging receipts. People can kind of produce a photograph of a damaged car when there has been no damage. So I think it'd be really interesting to see where that goes. And as you say, it keeps learning.
It keeps learning, yeah. And I think one of the main differences is on the personal side is sort of like you can now create so much using technology. You can be a photo editor. You can be your own sort of podcast producer. You could do all do all of these things.
I couldn't do that.
You couldn't do that, no. But you can do so much yourself on your own smartphone or your device, and like you say, from a fraud point of view, is AI making sure it's catching up and making sure it's identifying which is something that isn't authentic and real, and keeping that in check.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Deep fakes and things I think are really interesting.
That's a big topic, isn't it?
Yeah. How do we sort of make sure that we know what we're actually ingesting on social media is real?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm finding interesting at the moment is that using something like ChatGPT learns more about you as you go on.
Yeah.
So there is that fear actually in the end that you can go in and say, can you write this in my writing style?
Yeah.
And because I use it to create kind of stories for my kids, It knows stuff about this. Yeah, it's really good.
That's such a good
Yeah,
idea.
you put the names in, the names of the teddies, kind of names of family members. I mean, I suppose it's probably learning too much about us.
You want to be careful
Then
with
its favourite
ChatGPT.
characters.
Is that not just the same as any other social media platform, like your Instagrams and stuff like that? You put in information in, either with a photo or information, and they take some of that data but give you a platform for it. So it's very similar. I think ChatGPT is probably just that little bit further, that but social media has done that for years and years. I think we probably just put it to the back of our minds, because what we're getting from it possibly is better than what we're giving, if you know what I mean, and it is give and take. But yeah, I think there is that kind of awareness, maybe of our generation, and the younger people probably don't really see it as much.
They don't know. That's another thing. But I'm one of 4, and there's 20 years between me and my youngest sister, and she doesn't understand what life was like before.
No.
You know, you say dial-up internet to her, and she sort of pulls her face and says, "What's that?" So it is this sort of next generation. It is going to be an integral part of their life on a day-to-day. So. It's be really interesting. Can't believe you make up stories. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and now of course, because it learns as it goes along, I just type in write a story for the kids, and it already knows everything I've told it before.
Audience, it knows
and it
the
just comes up
evenings,
with bedtime stories.
Wow.
Do you give it feedback?
Well,
Like,
that was
based
rubbish.
on the
Do a
children.
better one.
Yeah, they didn't really like this one. Make it less scary.
Yeah, exactly. The more you do it, the more it learns, and it learns like what the favourite kind of characters are on TV programmes, and it just keeps moving forward.
There's nothing better than a good story, a proper book at bedtime, and my tactic was, if you keep your eyes closed, I'll keep reading. And I went quieter and quieter and quieter, and the eyes are closed, and then they go. And I'm like, that was a genius move by me. It worked sometimes.
I mean, my children are too old for this now, but I feel like I could really, really benefited from these tips when they were younger.
Yeah.
God.
Okay, right. Anything else to say on BIBA? Anything you're particularly excited about today?
Lovely weather. Hopefully, get to meet
It's
a lot
gorgeous,
of people.
isn't it? Yeah,
It's
it
beautiful
makes it
outside.
it does make a difference.
Makes it so much better.
It's always good weather at BIBA.
Most of the time.
Well, keep
Yeah,
everything
it's
crossed.
thunderstorm now, isn't it?
You've got your umbrella in your bag.
Yeah.
Though, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is great weather.
Yeah, and great to see so many people out
Fantastic.
and about.
And great to see you to start
And
it
you
off,
too, of course.
obviously.
Thank you so much.
No, well, thank you for coming on. I suppose we best get over there.
Yeah.
It's happening. So thank you so much for
Thank
coming and
you.
spending the time with us.
Yep.
Brilliant. Thank you.